Ghost Stories is at the Wolverhampton Grand from the 1st through to the 5th of July. Eddie Loodmer-Elliot is part of the cast and joins me now to tell me what's going on, or at least what he can of what's going on. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And thank you for saying what I can say, because I have been briefed beyond an inch of my life about how I can't say this, or this about things. So,
It's part of the magic of a show like this, though, isn't it? The fact there is mystery around it, and the terrifying nature of this will have audiences literally on the edge of those seats.
yeah, yeah. I mean, some people do have to stand up. They're so stressed that they can't actually sit down. We've had people actually be told to sit down in their seats because they just need to like stand up so they feel like they've got their wits about them. So yeah, it will.
Okay, so where did all this begin? What's the story behind this one? Because I mean, you got the League of Gentlemen's Jeremy Dyson and Andy Nyman. This is a show which is different in its approach and a different way to theatre than many other shows.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's both innovative, but also like the most old school way of telling a show in the sense that the writing team of Andy and Jeremy got inspired by old school circus style, come and see the Elephant Man or come and see the blah 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 kind of style of storytelling where they were very like demonstrative and it felt very circus and very freak show esque. That's probably the right thing to say, freak show esque. And so that's where the inspiration for the show came from. And then they created the show in 2010 with the lyric in Hammersmith that was Ghost Stories as it is now.
Mhm.
And that show, since it's literally it was had a run at the lyric, just went from success to success to success. This was a show that has recently been described by the Liverpool Echo, I think, as it makes the Woman in Black look like Peppa Pig the musical. It is full blown horror in like the funnest of ways, but with all the kind of high production value that you'd see in any West End show because it is a West End show. So you'd see the same sort of production value in things like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We've got moving set. We've got so many different ways to scare the audience and ways to tell the stories that we're telling that like really is a sight to behold. And I truly have never seen a show like it. I remember seeing the show, uh, 15 years ago when it first was. There was a lot of hype around it when it first came out in
Mhm.
2010. It then went on to the West End for another transfer in 2019, where it was at the Ambassadors Theatre. And then after that, in 2020, it went on its international tour. But obviously, that tour got
Curtailed. Yes.
yes. And so now we're back on that tour. So that's the tour we're on now. And so at the moment we're in Birmingham. Next week we're in Belfast, and then eventually we'll be in Wolverhampton in July. So yeah,
Absolutely. Well, that's something to look forward to. And tell us a little about Simon Riffkind, your part in the show.
bless Simon. Simon is you just have to look at the way he's dressed to know that he's a little bit like an in-betweener. He is someone that is still quite young. He's probably about just under 10 years younger than I am as an actor, but he is adorable, but also quite lame. I'd say he's probably a bit of a loser. But he is haunted as opposed to doing any haunting. So the audience are really with Simon on his journey. And so it helps how pathetic he is because it helps kind of get the audience on his team because they sort of see him as a sort of puppy
Uh,
in a sense.
and what's
Um,
his relationship like with Professor Goodman?
Well, so Simon, it's the story in general is that Professor Goodman is a massive cynic. He is an investigator of paranormal psychology, but is a big cynic and doesn't really believe that anything is supernatural or spiritual, and believes that everything has got a very practical solution to it or explanation behind it.
Mhm.
Except for there are three stories that he just can't quite get his head around. And Simon's is the middle story that he tells during the show, which he just can't quite understand what happened there. And so that's Simon's relationship with Goodman is that he goes and he tries to meet Goodman so that Goodman can give him some answers and explanations as to what's been happening to him. Um, and that's all I'll say for now, I think.
But the show itself, I mean, will be truly terrifying. The fact that you've got these paranormal experiences being brought to life on stage, and
Yeah.
the way in which it really triggers your thoughts in theatre. We see so much on film and TV these days with the amazing effects that you can do digitally. This isn't digital. This is all physical effects
Oh
on
yeah.
stage.
Yeah. Oh, this is like, yeah, as old school, like everything is real as we can do. Even the tricks, I say tricks, even the like the illusions that we tell on stage. There are probably much more modern ways of doing the certain things that we want to do. But we find that just by doing the very old school, real magician style stuff on stage is the best way still. Nothing digital. We've got a projector that we need for the sort of framing of the story, which is
Hmm.
that we are at one of Goodman's lectures and he's
Hmm.
talking about the stories that he can't get his head around. So he uses a projector and slides for that. But that's pretty much as high tech as we go on the kind of digital aspect. Everything else is as real as it gets. And we have touch tours because people want to touch things and explore things and get involved with the set. And I'll tell you, the backstage looks as scary as anything because you see all the things like in the dark, ready to go. And I remember when I first did the show, I bumped into a mannequin backstage that I was absolutely jumped out of my skin at. So yeah, it really is the real deal.
I like the concept that you're going to be going to many, many theatres that have an amazing vintage around the country. Wolverhampton Grand has its own ghost stories too.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
any of the residents who are not of this world in theatres sort of partaken in the show that you've noticed so far?
Well, not that I can tell, but we've had ghost stories be told to us by the front of house at almost every single theatre we've gone to.
Hmm.
We've gone to now about 20 or so theatres for the last 20 weeks. And in each one, we have heard a new story, which is always very chilling. So, and I'm a strong believer in ghosts. So I'm very happy to kind of be told as much as I can be told. But in terms of in the show itself, I think it would be too on the nose for a ghost to show up actually in the story. But
They'll,
maybe
yeah, they'll enjoy it as much as the audience, though, won't they?
exactly, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
at the Grand, if there is a hint of lavender, if that aroma arrives with you
Mm.
on stage, you know that one of the local incumbents, who's I believe a grey lady, who is enjoying and has probably turned up without a ticket.
Oh, really? So lavender is the smell that is
Yeah,
like the
that
kind of
that they
hint.
are associated with one of the boxes up there. I have been on a bit of a ghostly tour of the Grand, so
Oh, great. Okay, well, I will be sniffing out for it. We
okay.
also put our own smells into the show, so there will be smells that the audience will experience.
So
Um,
this is a truly interactive and immersive experience, and it runs without an interval as well. So there's no sneaking off halfway through or
yeah.
not coming back because you're too petrified to see any more of it.
In fact, we've got quite a strict policy. So anyone that is planning to come, do go for a wee before the show because it's no readmittance. We want to keep everyone locked in their seats until the end of the experience. So I say experience. That's kind of how it is. So yeah,
Well, it's 1 hour and 40 minutes on stage. It is strictly 15 plus, and make sure you've got good bladder control because it is required to get you through the whole of the show. And any other thing, I mean, if it is going to be quite scary, and that's genuine, isn't it? It is one of those shows where you will be,
it
it's
is.
a this sort of skin crawl on the back of your neck type thing.
It is. And you know what? It's I think 1 hour 40 was our maybe our older running time. It's now only 85 minutes. So don't have to hold your bladder for too long. But it really is scary. Yeah. I mean, it's not one of those things that I'm saying it's scary and you'll be disappointed. It might not be like this. I mean, it depends on your disposition. Some people find it absolutely terrifying, can't talk after the show. Some people throw up. It's so scary. Some people probably don't find it scary or come in with a massive sense of I'm not going to be scared. And that's also so fine because they always enjoy the show because the
Mhm.
actual story behind the show is a really thought about, brilliant story. That's why the show's been made into a film. That's why the show's been gone on transfers and extensions, and it's now extending again into the West End at the end of the summer. Into October and spooky season, so it won't die, and that's because of the story, not because of the scares. But the scares remember, it makes The Woman in Black look like Peppa the Pig, the musical. So
Yeah,
that is,
it all
yeah,
enhances ghostly storytelling at its finest with ghost stories at the Grand, 1st through to the 5th of July. 01902429212 is the box office number, grandtheatre.co.uk to grab your tickets. Eddie, Loodmer-Elliot, have an amazing time as part of
thank
this
you.
tour. We look forward to having you in Wolverhampton. Break a leg and be ready for some terrifying moments on stage.
Yeah, thank you so much.